Good day, beautiful people of the earth. You know what time it is. It is time for Thomas and Friends. Fun with Thomas and Friends. We will be going over more very good state statutes that are also law and that are good law that should be enforced. But if you happen to be a judicial official, you apparently are above the law, and laws do not get enforced with you because for some reason you have this privilege that nobody else has. I thought the difference between America and European countries was that we were a nation governed by law and not by other men, but, apparently that got switched around somewhere. The first thing we are looking at, simulation of court process in connection with collection of claim, debt, or account. It shall be unlawful for any person, firm, corporation, association, agent, or employee in any manner to coerce, intimidate, or attempt to coerce or intimidate any person, especially an elderly person, we went over that the last video, in connection with any claim, demand, or account by the issuance, utterance, which means speaking, or delivery of any matter, printed, typed, or written, which simulates or resembles a summons, warrant, writ, or other court process or pleading by its form, wording, use of the name North Carolina or any officer, agency, or subdivision thereof, use of seals or insignias, or general appearance has a tendency to create in the mind of the ordinary person the false impression that it has judicial or other official authorization, sanction, approval. Any violation of the provision of this section shall be a Class I felony. Let me just break this down for you. As soon as they used coercion and intimidation in court,
Summary judgment filed February 5th.
Judge,
It was
my name is
previously
Henry
noted.
Ramo.
Have a seat, sir.
My case they talked
Have a
about.
seat.
And she got my attorney's record. She got my attorney's record.
Have a seat, sir. You're going to be
My
removed
case.
from the court. Mr. Sheriff, take Mr. Ramos, if that's his name, into custody.
Ramo.
Please. The gentleman next to you, you're going to have a seat, or you want to go with the sheriff also?
I hear you now. I hear what you're saying.
Mr. Sheriff, take both of them into custody.
Sir,
Do not touch me. I don't give you permission to touch me. Do you know what you're doing?
just step over here, please. Place him in the box for now.
I guess so.
Yeah, he's 86 years old.
Mr. Sheriff, leave the elderly gentleman here, please. Yes, since he's a party.
and the utterance, and then after court, when they actually issued the unlawful order for Henry to pay the money that they did not obtain the order for that lawfully, they simulated a court process, and that in and of itself is a Class I felony. They definitely used North Carolina, the state of North Carolina, and the seals or insignias, and created a general appearance that it had some type of judicial standing, which it doesn't, and we know it doesn't because Henry has an account that is leaned on by Massey, and if he had a lawful judgment, he could go and execute the lien. Now here's another one that pertains to myself more than Henry. Altering, destroying, or stealing evidence of criminal conduct. And so this actually probably applies to almost everybody up at the courthouse. Definitely the high clerk, and definitely Thomas McAvoy Britton. Any person, whether you're a judge or not, or a high clerk or not, who breaks or enters any building, structure, or compartment, vehicle, or file, remember, you don't have to break into it, all you have to do is enter it, cabinet, drawer, or any other enclosure wherein evidence relevant to any criminal offense or court proceeding is kept or stored with the purpose of altering, destroying, or stealing such evidence, or any person who alters, destroys, or steals any evidence relevant to any criminal offense or court proceeding shall be punished as a Class I felony. So basically, when Thomas McAvoy Britton and Kim Gasperson Justice, and what appears to me, entered a judgment that was never clocked in, never stamped, never indexed into the court file against me in what appears to be the middle of July, when they held my body back in March, on March 26th for 48 hours. And they never had a return order from the sheriff's department. They violated this statute, which is, in my opinion, good law if the state would enforce it on state officials like judges and high clerks. The law doesn't mean anything if the state will not enforce it. If the state doesn't enforce these laws, then they're nothing more than a PR stunt. That's it. It's just there for public relations. It's just there so that they can tell the people of the state, oh, well, if they did this, it would be a crime. Well, when they do it, they don't get charged for the crime. That's the problem. Okay, in the interest of time, this is the last one we're going to go over. Altering court documents or entering unauthorized judgments. Any person, even a judge or a high clerk, who without lawful authority intentionally enters a judgment upon or materially alters or changes any criminal or civil process, criminal or civil pleading, or other official case record is guilty of a Class H felony. So let's break this down. Unauthorized judgments. Any person without lawful authority intentionally enters judgment or materially alters and changes any criminal or civil process, criminal or civil pleading, or other official case record is guilty of a Class H felony. Again, this would be really nice if the state of North Carolina actually upheld the statutes that they write. They entered an unlawful, unauthorized judgment against Henry Ramo. Again, the evidence of that is that Boyd B. Massey has a lien against his property. If it was a lawful judgment, then they could have executed that lien. Also, they entered an unauthorized, unlawful judgment against myself when they threw me in jail for criminal contempt. And if you go back and watch Public Notice, Lawless Authority, all of the documentation is there to prove what I'm talking about. If you watch How You Know Court Has No Jurisdiction, all of the documentation is there to prove what I am talking about. Violent attempted robbery by Judge Thomas McAvoy Britton and accessories. That basically is just a very condensed version of Public Notice, Lawless Authority, because Public Notice, Lawless Authority It is a little over 2 hours long. And basically, what it comes down to is that you are the public. These people, these judges, these officials, the legislatures who actually write decent law that the courthouse doesn't enforce, that the judicial branch doesn't enforce, these people are your public servants. And until you force them to do their job, they are going to keep doing nothing. It is up to you. The future is in your hands, and the future belongs to the people who plan on it. If you wish for your children to have a future, if you wish for justice and rights to come back to the American people and to get courts of law rather than these courts of administrative procedures, if you wish to get those things back, then we got to get organized. And we have to make sure that people participate. And that all starts with you. Anyways, please like and subscribe. Thanks for sharing these videos. I am just conspiracy, and I just wish to conspire with other good people of this earth to leave a better world for future generations than the world we all grew up in. Thank you very much.
In the court, it's your life for it to be filed in. Just like anybody else that comes in anytime that wants to file something or wishes to file something, we take their filing. And I can find out